Lissy has packed all of her gear. She's taken the kids. Don't leave me. I got some bummer news, folks. I got some real bummer news. After we stayed in this beautiful campsite in the Western Australia bush, it felt awesome. We were in a beautiful place of isolation, a beautiful quiet night camping out. Woke up in the morning getting ready for our travels, getting closer to Perth. We were just going to keep heading west, enjoying the coast and enjoying the luscious beauty that the Western Australia coast was offering us after spending what felt like weeks out in the desert on the Nullarbor terrain. Pulled out of the free campsite, noticing that the engine wasn't quite running so sweet. I was starting to feel a bit of a lag in the gears, and then I noticed a bit of smoke pouring out the back. Before I knew it, we had a pretty solid bang in the engine. I think I just cooked the engine, unfortunately, and so as I'm on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, so the old girl got us that far. It got us all the way to Albany, Western Australia. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, beautiful 3.5 4-cylinder engine. So for the next week, I was pretty much on a crazy scavenger hunt trying to find another engine that would suit this motorhome. Everyone I talked to for the next week was full of bad news. Oh, you're never going to be able to find an engine that's going to suit that. Plus, if you do find an engine, you've got to take the axle off and you've got to drop it down from underneath the motorhome. But I felt like I just can't give up. I had to find a good result. So I spent all my waking hours, as soon as it was business hours, I was calling and talking to as many people as possible. 3 hours west away, I ended up calling a wrecker, where a guy owned large acreage and he had all kinds of diesel equipment on there, and he had an old truck that he thinks would have suited the engine that I needed. We got the motorhome towed about 3 hours west. He was a very busy guy as well. He did not want to do the engine breakdown or the install. He was trying to get it so that I'd just buy the engine and then another mechanic could do it, and it was just in the middle of nowhere again where the engine was, so I'd have to just be getting the motorhome towed everywhere, and it was costing so much money. So I begged this guy. I said, if I break down the engine and help with the install, could you please help me with it? And the guy was nice enough to agree that if I did a lot of the work, he would help me do it. And so this is the start of that process. Oh no, this isn't a good sign. Oh, it's going to be a big week, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a big week. The old girl, she's had it. It's time for another motor. Holy smokes. Alright, I think I've broken down the engine, so she's almost ready to have the gearbox taken off. Engine mounts unbolted, and BAM! That sucker's coming out. It's been a long day, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very long day. But we will have this bad boy out today. If it's the last thing I do. So, after having broken down the engine, one of the chaps that worked for him came out with a forklift and a jib. So with a lot of stuffing around and crazy manoeuvring, we eventually got the engine out. Mind you, we're out in the middle of nowhere. We had reception coming and going. The kids were stuck in pretty much on a farm where we were in the same paddock as his cows and his sheep, and it was kind of cool in a way, but yeah, they couldn't really walk anywhere to do anything, so they were stuck inside the motorhome while we're trying to work on it and while we're trying to jack it up, and that way the fridge wasn't running so it wasn't level, and there was all these things that were just making it so tricky. And so Alyssa had to make the decision to take the little tackers back home. So this is a bit of that. It is a sad, sad day today, folks. Lissy has packed all of her gear. She's taken the kids. She's going on an aeroplane. Oh, Lissy's flying back to our cabin today.
Oh no, Mummy.
Yeah, you and Mummy and Caleb are going to take this luggage and go back to the cabin while Daddy works on the motorhome. I'm going to miss you.
We've already cried this morning.
This is a sad day. Oh man. Don't leave me. Don't leave me out here. All by my lonesome.
Come with us.
I should. I'll just buy a ticket now. We'll leave the motorhome here. Stuff it. You're going to have a good trip. And you're going to be back in your own cabin soon. Enjoying.
I know, but I want you to be with us. Lyric, say, Daddy, come with us.
Don't leave me. Stay with me.
Caleb.
My loves are leaving me. No. Come back. Don't leave me. Please come back.
I'm so human.
And once the family left me, this horrible feeling of loneliness just like surrounded the motorhome as I was working on it by myself. Once the engine was out, everything needed to be retrofitted on the engine from one engine to the other, so luckily he let me use his workspace and he taught me how to break things down, how to reseal it, how to make gaskets, how to get this engine ready. And eventually we got the sucker back in. This is how excited I was to get back in the motorhome. We're back on the road, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. She's running like a trooper. Clutch feels great. She's sitting nice and cool. Wow, this looks so foggy. Oh, thank you so much, Ian. You have saved our lives.